Hey there, friends, and welcome to episode 274 of Just the Zoo of Us. This week I am joined by a bat biologist for an up-close look at some of the furry friends fluttering through our night skies. We discuss tortilla chip aroma, anatomically accurate Edward Cullen, screaming into the void, butt blankies, and so much more. Just the Zoo of Us presents Dr. Alyson Brokaw's Top 3 Bats. Hello, everybody. It's Ellen Weatherford with Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast. I am so excited this week to be talking about some of our favorite airborne friends, our little critters that flitter through the sky at night. We have a brand new friend this week. This is Dr. Alyson Brokaw. Say hi, Alyson.
Hi.
And Alyson, what are your pronouns?
She, her.
Thank you so much. I am really excited to talk about our fun little guys. I try not to only talk about bats at Halloween time because I feel like that's when everybody thinks about bats, but they're always there. They don't spawn into existence in October and then just despawn after Halloween. They're still there. I feel like October and Halloween is when I stock up on bat themed merch, and then you just have it all year long. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I sometimes, my friends and I, my bat colleagues and I would joke that Halloween is like bat biologist Christmas because it's when you can get all the cute bat stuff.
The play is to get all the bat merch on clearance in November.
Yeah.
You wait until November because that's when they put all of it on clearance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, now with, capitalism, I feel like Halloween stuff's on sale in October, which is great. It's great. It's great for me. That's when I get all my best bat decorations and.
Oh, I should have brought up. I bought a bat mug. It's so cute. It's a white mug that has black little bats all over it.
Oh, cute.
And I bought it in October, but I have been using it nonstop since I bought it. It was not a Halloween purchase.
Yeah, my sister was visiting around Halloween and she had come over to do some work in my house and was looking at all our Halloween decorations, and I had come home from work and she looked at me and she just goes, "So how much of this stuff is just here year round and how much of it is actually Halloween decorations?" And the answer was 50-50. So.
But how nice, though, that you get to work with an animal that is so well represented in merch.
Yeah, no, it's true. And actually the merch has gotten, it gets better. So I feel like even when I first started, the only bat stuff you would find, even around Halloween, was black and orange and kind of scary. But now every year I, go into the craft stores or whatever to look for stuff. And it's actually surprisingly beautiful even or cute.
Yeah. We're leaning into the cute. We're finding the cute.
It's less of the red eyes, mouth open, fangs out, and a lot more just sort of more neutral style, which I love. So
I just have to feel bad for all of the scientists who study worms and flies and stuff like that. No holiday is you're never gonna walk into Michael's and find deep sea tube worm merch.
Yeah.
Where's the holiday for them?
Yeah, it's true. We are hashtag blessed.
So bats have really, I feel like they've turned a PR corner over the last couple of decades or so for great reason. There's a lot of reason to love bats, and who better to preach about the gospel of bats and talk to us about how great they are than somebody who has a very sort of special insight into the world of bats. Alyson, what does your work with bats look like?
So my bat work and research has mostly been focused on field-based things. So I have gotten to go out into nature, usually forests, but other locales as well. And also gotten to travel. So I've done work on bats in Panama and Belize and Mexico, as well as a few places around the US. And I have mostly focused on sensory biology. So I am interested in how all animals, not necessarily just bats, but bats are the coolest, how they interact with their environment using their senses. And most specifically, I am interested in how bats use their sense of smell.
That's usually not like the top one you see when people talk about bats.
Yeah, it's not. When I started as a master's student in Northern California, I was actually more focused on sort of acoustic, so their sense of hearing, and was interested in communication, so using sounds to talk to each other. And then when I started my PhD, I had actually thought I would keep going with the acoustic communication. I was in a auditory neuroscience lab.
Wow.
So my advisor and the other grad students in the lab were focused on understanding various parts of how bats echolocate and communicate using sound, including looking at like what parts of the brain respond to echolocation. And then I don't know, my advisor let me go down this weird rabbit hole of olfaction or sense of smell, which there wasn't a lot known about it. And it turns out that some of that is probably because it's really hard.
Oh, yeah. I bet. They're little.
Yeah, they're little. They can be hard to catch depending on what you're trying to do. Choosing the right species, so the right type of bat to study a question, which is true for any science question. You want to have the right study organism to be able to ask the questions you're trying to ask that can extend past like just about that bat or just about that spider or whatever.
Yeah, like who's going to represent this the best?
Yeah. I spent some time trying to figure out olfactory communication. The lab that I was in for my PhD, we have a captive colony of Mexican free-tailed bats, or we did at the time. They're adorable. They are really good at echolocating, and they're also very smelly. So, so my PhD was in Texas. If you walk around like Austin or Houston or any kind of urban-ish area in Texas, and you walk past a bridge and you get hit with this like musky ammonia tortilla chip smell, that bridge has bats in it.
See, I would have just made the assumption that like, oh, someone's cooking tortilla chips, you know? Like that would have been my go-to. Like that seems like a place where chips would be.
Yeah, so that is one of my favorite fun facts is that Mexican free-tailed bats smell like tortilla chips.
That's an awesome bat to me.
Like that's not
big
just
win.
It's not just us making it up. Like people have analyzed chemically the odors from a bat cave, and like the prime chemical component that comes out when you do that is the same chemical component that gives tortilla chips that like, I don't even know how to describe it, sort of
the je ne sais quoi.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are so much worse things you could smell like, though.
Yes, it's true. When it's really strong, you kind of lose the tortilla chip aspect.
That reminds me a lot of the binturongs that smell like popcorn.
Yeah, it's something along the same line. So these bats are smelly. They are very social. They form these huge colonies. So we were like, cool, maybe they're using odors to like communicate or do something. So I tried to do all these behavior tests in the lab, and I think some of it was like user error and like me being a grad student and figuring out how to best do this. But also I think the bats I joke that they were either too dumb or they just don't care. So, benefit of the doubt, probably a little bit of both.
Just not the right headspace.
Yeah. And I think it's just because so I'm interested in behavior too. So not just what are they smelling, but how are they responding to it, and why are they responding to it in a certain way. And I think it's just really hard for any animal, but particularly for this particular species of bat to be like, no, don't use echolocation. Only use your sense of smell to do this thing.
Oh yeah. And they're like, but I can't.
Yeah. So
why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah. So I tried really hard to do that.
Just put little cotton balls in their ears.
Yeah.
Just stuff little cotton balls in there.
In theory, yeah. But we do have to follow a lot of like animal use and, ethics.
You do have to be nice to them.
We do have to be nice to them.
I've read some very silly papers where scientists were like, we're just going to do some silly stuff
especially older papers, for sure. I've read stuff and been like, you did what?
We glued some boots on this beetle.
Yeah. But yeah, so after spending quite a bit of time trying to figure out sort of this olfactory communication stuff, I ended up switching and ended up focusing on fruit-eating bats and looking at how they use smell to track an odor. So you can think of like, scent tracking dogs, like when they've gone out and are searching for something, sort of those behaviors that if you were to watch your dog running around in a yard, sniffing at the ground, sniffing at the air, moving in certain ways. So I basically was interested, like, okay, how do bats solve that problem?
It seems like a one-to-one sort of comparison because like a lot of those fruit-eating bats just look like little puppies.
They do.
So like, I feel like it's like a ready comparison.
Yeah. They are sky puppies.
You're so cute.
Yeah, which other tangential fun fact that I always like to point out to people is many people, when we think of bats, we sort of imagine them as flying rodents. And like even linguistically, like you look at what a bat is called in French and German, and it's like something mouse.
Oh yeah, the French one is chauve-souris, which is a bald mouse.
Yeah, and I think I'm not going to try to say it in German, but the German name translates to like flutter mouse.
Yeah. That's
I think
cute.
I'm not even gonna try it.
Fluttermouse is a much more flattering name for them.
But yeah, so we think of them as comparisons to mice and rodents, which like rodents are great, but bats are actually more closely related to dogs than they are to rodents.
I can see it. I can see it in the face.
Yeah, and actually more closely related also to hooved animals, which is a little less obvious.
That's a wild card.
So they really are like sky puppies. If we track their phylogenetic tree, they sort of cluster out closer to carnivores and the Artiodactyla and the hooved animals. And whales too, I think.
They feel like a real evolutionary sort of like wild card. I feel like they just grabbed a bunch of traits from all over the animal kingdom and they're like, wings, toss that on there. Echolocation, yep, that we got that. Like, it feels like all these traits you see in much more, because they've got like wings, which you see in like birds and insects and stuff like that, but then they've got like echolocation that you see in like whales, and then fur, and then like all these weird, like it just seems like none of these parts should go together.
Yeah, and actually that's one of my favorite things about bats is just how diverse they really are.
They're the junk drawer of evolution.
A little bit. And I like to say that if you can think of a thing that an animal might do, so maybe think of an animal that might eat a certain thing or live in a certain place or do a certain behavior, chances are there's a bat that does those things. The only exceptions that I know of is, as far as we know, there are no scavenger bats. So there's no bats that eat dead things. But everything else that you think of a mammal might do, a bat somewhere probably does it.
They've got it all. What can't they do?
Yeah. Not necessarily all bats do it, but one bat somewhere does it.
There's one weird cousin on the family tree.
Yeah, so it makes it really interesting because, speaking of like trying to find an animal that does certain things to want to study a certain trait, bats are a great place to look because chances are one does it and you can ask like, okay, why does this bat do those things and not other bats, or why do bats do this thing and mice don't, or what,
Yeah. Now, on the question of like why bats? Why bats for you? Like what brought you to the world of bats? Were you like a day one bat fan, or is this like a later in life sort of an acquired taste?
It's a little bit of both, I think. So growing up, I was a nerd, and
you are in the right place.
And specifically was an animal and nature nerd.
I don't know what that could possibly be.
I know,
like.
right? I distinctly remember being in like my elementary school library at age like 9 or 8 and, thumbing through an encyclopedia as you do and discovering the word zoology. And I was like, that's a thing people can do. I'm like, I want to be a zoologist. And everyone else is like, well, what is that? So I knew I wanted to study animals. And then actually in undergrad, I studied birds for a little bit. So I dabbled in other flying animals.
We all experiment in college.
And I also sometimes joke that I switched from birds to bats because I hate waking up early. I am a night owl, or a night bat, I guess you could say.
You do need to take your own sort of like daily habits as a person into consideration.
So I was into animals. We would sometimes see bats flying around the house where I grew up. And, I always kind of thought they were interesting. And then I actually took a class in undergrad that was a naturalist outreach class. So the whole point of it was to put together this presentation that you would bring to elementary schools or public areas to talk about something. And we just had to pick a topic. And I went to Cornell University, which is very well known for its lab of ornithology. So I was not the only person studying birds in this class. So I had decided, you know what, I'm going to pick something different. I'm not going to pick birds because
you could really stand out.
Other people are doing birds. I want to try something else. And so I picked bats and just was like blown away by how
in a world of birds, be a bat.
Yeah. And I was just, as I was researching, I was just kind of blown away by how much we didn't know. I would be sort of looking up and kind of have that thing of like, oh, I wonder, like, how do bats do this? And then it'd be like, no one knows, or we only kind of know. So it was just, I just realized sort of how cool they were. And so when I was thinking about grad school and going to grad school, I made a point to choose programs to work on bats and fell in love.
A lesson in leaning into mystery.
Yeah.
Like, look for the gaps, like, look for the dark spots in knowledge and be like, hey, you know what? Here's an opportunity. Like, here's something we can really figure out. And then you get to learn cool stuff, like why bats smell like tortilla chips.
Exactly. Yeah. We still don't totally know. So just before you try to do any behavior stuff with them, just give me a call first and I'll tell you what not to do.
Oh, no.
Just the, like, that I failed. So, like, here's the things that...
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you all the things that didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can cross those out.
Yeah. Like, we tried those.
It wasn't this. We checked.
Save you some time.
Well, Alyson, I wanted to talk to you today about some heavy hitters, some real rock stars in the bat family tree. Because, like you mentioned, they're so diverse, and bats come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. They do all sorts of cool stuff. So I wanted to get your highlight reel of your top 3 favorite bats. Let's start with number 3. Alyson, what's your number 3 bat?
Okay, so I'm going to preface that this order is arbitrary because it's so hard to pick. So I feel like I need to make that disclaimer.
This is in no particular order.
Nope, this is no particular order. And honestly, I wish I could talk about all of them. But I think the first one that I will pick to talk about is one that most people are probably at least sort of familiar with, but probably don't actually know that much about, and that is the common vampire bat.
This is what most people think of when they think of bat, right?
Yes.
Like, I feel like a lot of people, like, if you think bat, that's probably where you're going first.
Yeah, exactly.
The icon. She's the moment.
They are. I mean, but, like, for real.
And you mentioned that you worked in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Did you come across vampire bats?
I did. Yeah, and actually...
Oh!
Yeah, so I know I'm talking about the common vampire bat, but actually, of the 1,400 something bat species that currently exist, only 3 of them are vampire bats. So very, very
So, like,
few.
it's not that big of a thing.
Yeah, there's not that many of them. And when I was in Mexico, I actually had the opportunity to capture and handle both the common vampire bat, which, as its name suggests, is more common. But I also got to meet the hairy-legged vampire bat. All the vampire bats have a pretty similar look. I think they belong in, like, a Jim Henson movie.
Lots of folds.
Yeah, a lot of folds. They've got the little snout.
Mm-hmm. They look like what is it, Dark Crystal?
Yeah,
the things from Dark Crystal or something like that.
Even like Labyrinth, like some of the like.
Yeah, it's Goblin.
Yeah,
it's Goblin adjacent.
They are.
They're Goblin presenting.
Yes, and I think actually Goblin personality-wise, vampire bats are also a little bit goblin-y, so it works. But, like, in a good way. Like, in a we love them way.
Oh, well, I have a goblin adjacent personality too, so I feel like I
think we all have a little bit of goblin in us, so
they're goblin mode.
Yes.
It's goblin mode. Yes. Goblin hours.
Exactly. So of the 3 species, I have met the common and the hairy-legged. There's the third species, which is the white-winged vampire bat, and I have not seen those in person. But the white-winged and the hairy-legged vampire bat, they actually mostly specialize on bird blood, while the common vampire bat specializes on mammal blood.
That's us.
Yes.
So.
Yes, that can be us. Not super commonly. They mostly feed on large livestock, so cows, horses, pigs. Before agriculture really boomed in a lot of Central and South America, they were probably feeding on large herbivores, so like tapirs and wild pigs and those kinds of things.
All these big, hulking, lumbering mammals, like, you have enough blood. Like, what's a little bit of blood? Which is, you've got blood to spare.
Yeah, which is a great reminder that vampire bats are not killing their victims. An individual vampire bat is only taking 1 to 2 teaspoons of blood at a time.
That's like a scraped knee's worth of
blood.
I
mean, they do. They make a very small cut. They have these very, very sharp front teeth. It's actually their incisors. So if you think of our teeth, the incisors are your front ones. So not like the movies where they're usually like the canines are always elongated in human vampires. Mm-hmm. So this
is like the buck teeth.
Yeah, it is. So they've got these little triangle, very sharp front teeth, and they make a tiny cut in the animal that they're feeding on, and then they actually lap up the blood as the animal bleeds.
Can you imagine if in Twilight, if the vampires in Twilight had like anatomically accurate fangs?
Yeah, or any.
Where they were like.
Yeah, picturing any of the like human, vampire media with those. At least I've seen some where it's like just all the teeth are sharp, and that's probably like closer. I don't like that. But it is more. Yeah. It is slightly more accurate.
Yeah, but I like it less.
Yeah, it is a little bit. It is a little bit disconcerting. I think vampire bats don't actually have that as many teeth. Like humans have more teeth than bats do.
So if you had like no teeth, just 2 really, really sharp ones in the front.
Yeah, or like 2 really sharp ones and then like a few. I used to have a vampire bat skull and I would show you, but
I don't like anatomically accurate Edward Cullen, I don't think.
Yeah, there's a line. The artistic representation is fine.
You have to suspend some disbelief.
Yeah. But yes, vampire bats are only taking a little bit of blood. Blood is not particularly nutritious, and it has a huge water content. So here's another like silly fun fact that I think the kids will love: is vampire bats, as they're feeding, will also be peeing because they are bringing in so much water content that they are. Yeah, basically, it's like
you gotta make room.
Yeah, you gotta make room.
I think maybe now I've come back around to being like, maybe don't. Maybe don't feed on me because unless you've got like a diaper on or something, because I can part with a little blood. Yeah. But please don't also pee on me.
Yeah. It's generally better for everybody if they stay away from the humans.
Yeah, please don't. I prefer you didn't.
Yeah.
Did one ever bite you?
No.
Okay. So you didn't turn, as far as I know. No. I mean, you're not currently in direct sunlight, so I really can't assume.
Yeah, it is like basically dark now, so where I am. But I'm still fully human. Yeah.
They didn't get you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as a behavioral person, it sometimes would be nice if I could do the vampire thing of like turning into a bat, because then I could just figure out stuff without having to like, have all the tech and whatever. It could just be like, oh, we want to know where bats go? I'll just turn into a bat and follow one. Yeah. Like, cool. No big deal. Hey, buddy. Like,
how about you and me? Like,
the things we could learn if I could just yell bat and like fly into the sky.
And then you could turn into a bat and then tell all the other bats, hey, don't echolocate. We're trying to learn why you smell.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a great, sort of a tangent, but there's a great YA or like children's, I don't actually know what the grade levels are, book series called Silverwing, which I believe was also made into a cartoon. It's not about vampire bats, though I think there is a vampire bat character at some point in it, but it's about this like young bat who gets lost during migration. Oh. It's a fantasy, but it's from the point of view of these bats. And it's just really fun to read because the author kind of did work in some of these like more biologically correct aspects. And one of my favorites is some of the bats like in the colony have these silver bands on their wings, which is a way that bat biologists mark individual bats. So you put this little silver, kind of the way people band birds to identify birds. For some bats, we can put a band around their forearm, and then you can, if you recapture them, you know who they are. But in this book, it's like those bats are like, you know, like they've been chosen.
Special.
Yeah. And then they got banded and like, you know, the bats don't know what this means, but it's like this status symbol and it's, anyway, it's great.
I do always wonder how like wildlife that's been like banded or marked by humans, like to them, that's fully like alien invasion. Mm-hmm. You got abducted and now you've been like marked by these like beings and for what purpose you do not know.
Yeah.
Like, I do wonder how they would interpret that. Like, oh, I guess we've been chosen.
Yeah.
I saw this video recently. It's a video. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. There was a video of, it was like a night vision video of these two animals like walking through a rainforest.
I think I maybe know what you're talking about.
It was a video of maybe it was like tapirs or capybaras or something like that walking through the forest. And then behind them, you can see this tiny little figure just hopping along the ground behind them. Like they're on an adorable little forest parade. And then everyone in like the comments, I think even the caption on the video was saying it was a frog because it looks like the motion of a frog hopping behind them. But then like, I guess if you zoom in closely on the video, it turns out to be a vampire bat.
Yes.
That's like hopping behind them. You know the video I'm talking about?
I think I do. It is a vampire bat. They do kind of move like frogs. And that's actually another thing that is very cool about vampire bats is that...
Oh, I found the video.
Yeah.
It's a javelina and her baby.
Okay.
It's like a grown-up javelina, a baby javelina, and then what looks like a frog hopping behind them, but it's a vampire bat.
Yeah. Yeah, they do have this very sort of, think of a frog. But what's fun is all bats, the wings are their hands. So when you think of a bat wings, that's like, imagine if your fingers were suddenly very, very long and had skin between them, and your forearm and the upper part of your arm were like shrunken. That would be your bat wings.
Little T-Rex hands, but giant.
Bats fly with jazz hands. That's what I always say and they sort of scoop. They don't really flap. If you watch them in slow motion, it's this like scooping motion. It's very cool. Highly recommend. It's very relaxing, I think. But yeah, so bats, right, they've got these huge hands, and then their back legs are very small. Their knees are actually backwards compared to at least humans, just because of the way that they're like hanging and crawling on surfaces. So they're not using their back legs to hop. And I've seen it referred to that vampire bats, they're using a front wheel drive. So they're actually pushing off. So they're making this bounding motion, which can also kinetically be defined as a run.
Oh, a loose definition of run,
yes. But
let's let them have it.
Yeah. People have put bats on treadmills and measured it.
Now that seems mean.
The vampire actually...
you were giving me a hard time about the cotton balls in the ears.
Well, it's actually... So the vampire bats are like... I said they sort of have their gremlin mode. I'm friends with some of the people who've done this research, and, you know, they've built these like special small treadmills, and they sort of put the bat on it, and the vampire bats, they figure it out like super quick. They're very smart. You can tell when they don't want to cooperate. Like, they know what to do, and they're just like, nah.
Yeah, I'm not
doing it.
Listen, I also sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, if you put me on a treadmill and we're like, run.
It's not happening today.
Yeah. So fair.
I run on treadmills 3 times a week, and sometimes you put me on that thing and I'm like, is not the day.
Yeah, I mean, fair. But yeah, so they have this cool bounding gait. Speaking of like Jim Henson, like I think it's the Landstriders in Dark Crystal. Like that's kind of, if you watch them run, it's front limb heavy. So it's those wings are doing all the work. And then they're kind of just, bouncing forward. They can sort of launch themselves into the air vertically, again, using this kind of like pushing off. And that's kind of that hopping. And if you think about it, we don't usually think of bats as being good on the ground. They are very highly specialized to be good in the air. These hands are not really functioning as hands anymore in the same way that we think of it. But with vampire bats, if you're hunting or feeding from an animal that is like several hundred to 1,000 pounds and you weigh 30 grams, it's like really handy to be able to like get out of the way if you have to.
True. And also to be able to like, when they would be sleeping, right? Mm-hmm. They'd be on the ground. So it makes sense for you to be able to come at them from the ground.
Yeah. So it's, both approach, and the approach is going to be more of like I guess you could call it a walk, but then they do have this running gait, which they can't do for very long. They are the sprinters of the bat world. They're not good over long distances.
Sure.
I'm sorry. In my brain, I can't remember it, but I'm thinking of the Lord of the Rings, like Gimli quote. Oh, that's
the part where they throw him.
No, the part where they're running after the hobbits are being taken to Isengard, and they're like sprinting after them, and you get Gimli like running, and he's like, "We are natural born sprinters, but like endurance is not our thing," or whatever it is. Like I said, nerd.
Same with bats. They got little legs.
Same with the vampire bats. They're very dangerous over short distances.
You don't want to be in melee range.
Yeah,
but like you get maybe a couple of yards on them,
exactly.
And you're all right.
Their thumbs are a lot longer. They have like a pad on their thumbs, which is thought to also be just like to help with this sort of more ground motion compared to other bats.
It's interesting to see like all the ways that their body is adapted, like almost had to like readapt to being on the ground.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh yeah, come from the ground, really good on the ground, everything's fine. Okay, now we're doing the sky now. Let's sort of reinvent our body to excel in the sky. And they're like, well, we want a little bit of ground. We want to be on the ground sometimes. Yeah. So maybe let's like dial it back a little bit. Like I like how evolution can sometimes kind of like make things like go back and forth, like terrestrial parkour.
Yeah, exactly. That is the vampire bats. So it makes them so cool.
Hey there, we're going to take a quick break to hear from a couple of our friends on the Maximum Fun Network. When we get back, we're going to hear about Alyson's top 2 bats. So stay with us.
Hey, is this Jesse?
This is Jesse.
Hey, this is Stuart Wellington, host of the Flophouse podcast on Max Fun. I'm calling because you've been named Maximum Fun's Member of the Month for February.
Nice.
If you don't mind me asking, what prompted you to start supporting the network, become a Max Fun member?
I was trying to think of when I started listening to the Flophouse, but I think it was something like 2014, 2015.
Oh, wow.
And then actually having a real job in 2021 was what allowed me to actually start supporting.
Congratulations for having a real job and supporting my not real job. So as Member of the Month, you're going to be getting a $25 gift card to the Max Fun store, awesome. a special Member of the Month bumper sticker, and a special priority parking spot at Max Fun HQ in Los Angeles.
It's awesome to support you guys, to support Max Fun. I get endless joy and entertainment.
If you're a Max Fun member, you can become the next Max Fun member of the month. Support us at MaximumFun.org/join.
Most of the plants humans eat are technically grass.
Most of the asphalt we drive on is almost a liquid.
The formula of WD-40 is San Diego's greatest secret.
Zippers were invented by a Swedish immigrant love story.
On the podcast Secretly Incredibly Fascinating, we explore this type of amazing stuff.
Stuff about ordinary topics like cabbage and batteries and socks.
Topics you'd never expect to be the title of the podcast. Secretly Incredibly Fascinating.
Find us by searching for the word secretly in your podcast app.
and at MaximumFun.org.
I find vampire bats endlessly fascinating. I know that while they are possibly the first bat that a lot of people think of, they're not the only bat out there. They're not the only game in town. There's other cool bats. Alyson, what's your number 2 bat?
So the second bat that we will talk about is making the decision right now as to which of the two is let's talk about the hoary bat.
A baby!
Yes. They are so cute.
A little powdered donut.
Yeah. I do want to clarify hoary bat, Hoary.
Yes, we're not being unkind.
Yes. And it refers to describe this bat, they're a North American bat, so they are found in the United States. Have them in Pennsylvania. Chances are if you live in the US, you probably have them in your area. They are relatively large. They are also around 30 grams. I want to say their body is maybe a little bit about the size of like an adult palm-ish. They're very fluffy. They have very long fur, even compared to other bats. They have this beautiful like golden collar that goes around their neck in terms of color. Their wings, when it's extended, they actually have a like patterning on it. So the wings are black, but they have fur and then coloring that kind of follows along the fingers that is like white and tan. And then the fur is brown at the base, but then tipped in sort of like lighter tans and white. And so they were named for like a hoarfrost. So that sort of like little bit of frost that comes over the grass when it gets cold overnight. And it sort of just tips the tops of the grass. And so that's why they're the hoary bat.
It does look like they just got like a very light dusting of snow.
Yeah, they're little powdered donuts. little sugar babies. Yeah, they are. They look sweet until they open their mouth, and then their mouth, their face is very fluffy. They've got this like little bit of like a lion ruff. Some people I've worked with who work with hoary bats, we sometimes call them little sky lions because it'll push forward and sort of like floof out around their head. Give them like a little lion mane.
It's a good look.
But when they open their mouth, it's just like teeth, like mouth and teeth. So it can look a little scary.
One of these photos, because I pulled up Google Images as a refresher, and one of the photos is of one just kind of screaming into the void.
Yeah.
I'm assuming because it's being handled and it's not pleased about that, but it's just mouth agape, just sort of atonally shrieking into the darkness.
Yeah, and
I can see it. Yeah. They're quite needly.
They do shriek. They are migratory and they are forest bats. So they don't hibernate in the traditional sense that we think of a lot of bats hibernating. They instead just migrate, so they just move come wintertime, and they are roosting in trees. So in addition to having sort of this like extra long fur, which is probably helps them stay warm if they are just, roosting among some leaves, they also have the fur extends along the membrane around the tail, which a lot of bats, that is just membrane. There's no fur on it. But in hoary bats, it's furred. And so when they are sleeping, when they're roosting among the leaves, they sort of wrap, or when it gets really cold, they will wrap that tail membrane like up over their face and kind of
Well, that's great.
Yeah, it's their little bat butt blankie.
That's awesome.
And it's the cutest thing.
Because my cat does something similar where he tucks his little tail in front of his face.
Yeah. Yep.
And puts his little nose under his tail. And that it's great when he does that.
Yeah. So these bats they'll hang by one foot and then they will wrap the other foot around them. Red bats also do this. And I think sort of yellow bats. A lot of the tree bats have these extra long tail membranes that they can wrap themselves up in. And it's adorable.
That is pretty cute.
Yeah.
So what is earning it the number 2 spot? Is it the cute factor?
Cute factor definitely plays in.
Because they've got it.
Yeah.
They've got the look.
Yeah, I have had the good fortune to handle quite a few of them. So when I was doing my master's in Northern California, I also volunteered with a biologist out of the Forest Service, Ted Weller, who was doing this really cool research on hoary bat migration and like movement. The coastal redwoods in Northern California are a big migratory hotspot. So every fall, a bunch of hoary bats are coming into this area and either sticking around for a little bit or moving through. And these are bats that are generally solitary, and they're high flyers. They're not really necessarily foraging or hunting in and among the forest. They're probably hunting kind of above a lot of the tree line. And when they're migrating, they're kind of probably staying even higher. But they come down into this area and in Humboldt redwoods and some of the surrounding forests. And we would catch 30 of them, 40 of them in a night, depending on the night in October.
Are they as soft as they look?
Yeah.
Don't bother bats. Don't touch, don't grab them. Don't do this. But I just want to know, are they as soft as they look?
I guess I can't say for sure because I'm usually wearing gloves.
True.
But they're very fluffy. And so I got to help Ted with this research, and it was cool. We just, as part of the migration, we learned we were putting, they're not like GPS tags. They were kind of like these logger tags that would then record the bat's location a few times, because even at 30 grams, that's still pretty small compared to other animals. So it's hard to, we are just now in the last 5 to 10 years getting the technology that we can put on bats to track them as they fly. Because with flying animals, the more weight you put on that animal, the more work it has to do. And bats are already operating at pretty low energy to input. It takes a lot of energy to fly.
Right.
But yeah, so we found that these bats they are maybe hibernating. We were able to record their temperature. And so that's when I said that they don't hibernate in the traditional sense, but they are doing a little bit. And the other thing is that they are an important conservation concern. So hoary bats, as well as red bats, and to some extent, depending on where you are, free-tailed bats are the most killed bats at wind turbines.
Oh.
Especially during these migratory periods. And so there's been a lot of work into trying to understand why so many specifically hoary bats are impacted by wind turbine facilities, and how we can reduce that impact. We haven't come up with a solution that companies necessarily want to do.
It's never something they want to hear.
Yeah. So and part of the problem too is that they're these migratory bats. They're already kind of hard to catch. We are only able to really consistently catch them in a few specific places. So Northern California is one of them. There's a few known maternity areas where we know that they go to give birth. And then there's a few places that we know that they pass through on migration. And the rest of the time, we're kind of we don't know where they are. Or we don't know for sure. So there's definitely one where it's figuring out how to study these migratory bats is something that people are still figuring out and is increasingly important, especially as the switch to renewable energies is important, but also so is doing it in a way that we're not shooting ourselves in the foot with respect to.
Right. Yeah. We know that this is ultimately a thing that we need to do and that will be very helpful, but also how do we do this in a way that is not going to be just passing harm along to our little guys in the sky? So
they're super cool bats. And they are something that I think needs a little more they need a little more attention.
They do. And this is a good gateway bat, I think, also for people who are maybe not super already into bats. This is a good bat to win you over.
Yes.
Because they have the face for me is so French bulldog.
It is
because they have the giant triangle ears that a lot of people love about French bulldogs, and the little scrunched up face, and the very, very wide set eyes. Mm-hmm. Not huge eyes. So if you're looking for huge eyes, this is not the bat for you. But I don't know. There's a lot there in terms of cuteness, and that can sometimes be what people need. If you need to see something as cute in order to care about it, then this is a great starting point.
I absolutely love. They are a good gateway bat.
Maybe scroll past the pictures where they're screaming into the void, because those are their less flattering moments.
And don't listen to them scream, because when we catch them, we're using mist nets, so it's these fine nets that we put out, and the bats fly in, and then it doesn't harm the bat. Obviously, they don't like it, but they are one that sometimes you've caught a hoary bat.
They will tell you.
Yeah, you just hear it. You just hear this it's kind of this
hey!
Yeah, it's it's like a hiss almost. It's kind of this loud hissing type noise. So it can be a little scary, but just remember they are more scared of you than you are of them. you know, I would probably be yelling at you too if you caught me in a net, so
honestly, same. Imagine that you're just walking down the street, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, ghosts
apprehend
you.
So they can be very grumpy, but we always take good care of them when we have them temporarily, then we let them go.
This is a great bat, an adorable little charmer. We love to see it. It's going to be a tough act to follow. Who's number one bat for today?
So this is probably not a gateway bat.
This is an experienced bat.
I'm going to give you some like cute bat whiplash here. And also I'm going to sort of apologize. This list of top 3 bats is very New World focused. So that's where most of my experience is in the US and Central America. So those are the bats I'm most familiar with. So sorry to the Flying Fox fans. They didn't make the top 3.
Me
I'm
personally,
sorry.
specifically.
It's not personal. So anyway, speaking of French bulldogs, let's say.
Yes.
And the sort of like, you know, so unique that it sort of like goes in one direction and then circles back around to being cute. Maybe I'm really like setting the stage here. Is
disclaimer.
These they legitimately are my favorite bat.
All right, let's see them.
The wrinkle-faced bat.
Let me do a quick little Google search.
I'm gonna just let you look.
Okay, let's see. When I type in wrinkle-faced bat, the first thing that comes up is 2 rows of youth renewal cream, like shopping, like it's all ads for like wrinkle creams, because they're like, surely you're looking this up because you wish to not look like this. But then I scroll down a little bit and I see what looks like an eldritch horror. It looks like something out of perhaps a Halo game. It looks like the Arbiter from the Halo games. Have you seen the Arbiter? Have you played the Halo games?
No, but I'm going to look it up now.
So look up Halo Arbiter, and you'll see who comes to mind when I see this bat, because it's kind of an incomprehensible face. Mm-hmm. I don't know where any parts of the face are. Like, it just all looks like sort of folds. I can't really tell what's animal and what's not.
Yeah, so they are, like I said, a little bit of whiplash on the cuteness. Okay, yeah, I see it. I looked up the Arbiter. I see it.
There's a lot that I don't recognize as a fellow member of this planet.
Yeah.
No, I'm having such a hard time relating to this as an animal.
Yeah, so I will recommend that you seek a few views of them, because I think depending on the photography, they can be maybe not cute, but you can at least like be oriented as to what you're looking at.
Where is this thing's good side? It can't have one.
But yeah, so these bats are just, I don't know. I saw them in Mexico and they're just so weird that you're like, why does this exist?
They're one of the bats ever.
You're like, why? Evolution, why? Like, yeah, so they've got, just to like paint a little picture, but yeah, so their face is kind of yellowish and it is very wrinkly, as you might expect.
Wrinkle-faced, I will say, a lot of times scientists will like give very unkind, very, they will give names to animals where they're just totally dragging them. Wrinkle-faced is the most polite thing you can say about this bat. Like, that is generous.
Yeah. I mean, they've got these big eyes. They are a fruit bat.
Really? They're supposed to be the cute ones.
Yeah.
Fruit bats, you've
betrayed
me.
They belong to they're in the family Phylostomidae, which is the New World leaf-nosed bats. Their leaf nose is...
I don't see one.
Yeah,
I don't see a nose.
It's kind of like regressed. Like we talked about the vampire bats being like a little bit goblin-y. These guys just like, it's like as if you just smashed their face in like a little more.
I don't like the nose being an innie.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, that is something. But yeah, they've got these large eyes. Their eyes are actually... I feel like photos don't do them justice. The eyes are actually quite lovely.
Okay.
I'm
gonna have to take your word for it on that one.
They're kind of this like greenish color, which is like you just don't see it in bats very often. Their ears are like big and round. They're kind of yellowish. Here's a fun part about this is the males have this flap of skin under their chin that is furred. It's like a whitish color.
A beard.
And they will pull that up like over their face, like up over their nose.
Very kind of them to do that so I don't have to look at all this.
So they have this little like bandit mask that they pull up over their face.
I think I see a picture of this.
Yeah, there's only a few where like it's like at least partially extended, or it just kind of looks like it has a beard.
They have a big Santa beard.
Yeah. So that is thought to be related to mating. So thought to be related to how they attract females.
Is it like ignore all this, ignore this whole situation? Like
we don't know.
Focus on my inner beauty, please.
But yeah, so only the males that really have that. The females don't. They also have very like quite fluffy fur, especially considering, so they are neotropical. They're found in Central America, and I think into South America as well. But they've got these bright white patches on their shoulders. And then their wings actually, and I don't know how easy it is to find pictures of the wings, but their wings actually have, so you imagine the hand, or imagine your hand, and you got your thumb hanging out, and then you've got membrane between the rest of your fingers. The first panel of that wing between the fingers is clear, and then the rest of the panels have this like, these horizontal sort of lattice pattern where it's like a little more translucent. And I believe both male and female have it.
I found a picture.
Yeah, that is also thought to be related to mating.
Really?
Yeah, so there's, the reason they're one of my favorite is because they're just so weird.
Yeah,
that, like,
there's a lot of incomprehensibility here.
Yeah, and they are, it's just, you're sort of just, yeah, it's kind of like, why are you like this?
I have a lot of questions for this bat.
Yeah, they look like they've seen some things, like...
They look like they are the things some things have seen.
So their scientific name is Centurio senex, which sort of roughly translates from the sort of root words as like 100-year-old man. So, scientists, we have a sense of humor sometimes. But what's cool is actually not that long ago, I think only a few years ago now, and you can find the videos on YouTube. Researchers in, I believe it was Costa Rica, were observing these bats during the mating season, and they described their mating as what we would call lekking. We are most familiar with birds that do this, but this is where a animal, sort of a bunch of males maybe come into one area and they all display at the same time. And the females come by and like do their shopping, and they're like, I like you,
pageant.
I don't like you, I like you. Right. So not very many mammals do this. It's actually a fairly rare mating system among mammals, but there's some evidence that the wrinkle-faced bats do this. So the males are kind of hanging out on these fruit trees and displaying. So they're kind of waving their wings around, showing off that wing pattern. They've got the masks up. And they're also making sort of very distinctive like chirping and like noises, which aren't quite a song, but are sort of in that realm of like, hey, check me out. And so they're
voice lines.
Yeah, you can see the researchers were able to get this really cool video of, it's like night vision, and you see a male like hanging out, and he's flapping his wings real fast and like twirling around on his feet and making these like quick little chirping noises. And then you see a female kind of come up and check him out, and they have some fun, and then she leaves.
Can you imagine, you go to like the club or something like that, you're trying to go find somebody, meet someone special, see, who's an option for you. You roll up and it's like 30 of these dudes. You're like, maybe I'm good. Maybe that's okay.
But yeah, so they're very interesting sort of from that kind of social interaction perspective. They also, a fun fact, they have what is the probably strongest bite force of any bats. Definitely among the leaf-nosed bats, like relative to body size.
That's very surprising considering I couldn't find the mouth on this thing.
Yeah. And it actually probably has to do with, because their faces are so short. And this is relative to body size. But so because their faces are short, right, it gives them that really strong bite force compared to like if you had a really long nose. And I think it's the same for true, like if you think of a short-faced dog and sort of what we, like those sort of bite force of that versus like a really long-faced dog. It has to do with like the biomechanics of how we close our mouths.
It seems like physics would be involved here somewhere.
Yeah. I haven't done this work. Basically, it's like people would get bats to bite on these transducers, which then like measure the pressure that the bats are putting down.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
Like,
So wrinkle-based bats are really high bite force. Probably it helps them. So like I said, they're fruit eaters. They may also eat seeds. So if you think about if you're a fruit bat and like it's a not so great year, maybe it was really dry and like not as many fruits are producing. And if you are able to bite harder things, they probably have an advantage to be able to like widen their diet choices.
it's almost like not only is their face short, but their face is so short that it's actually concave.
Yeah.
Like it's not just short, it's fully like retracted in. It's like they like slurped their face in.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me see. So I do actually have a skull replica of a wrinkle-faced bat.
I can only begin to imagine what could be lurking beneath. Now, see, this looks way too normal.
It looks like what's on the outside.
The skull looks way too normal for me, I think.
Yeah,
like,
so
that looks like what you'd be like a normal bat would look like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because it looks, if you take away the wrinkles, it's like what the actual face looks like. Very, very short, almost no projection forward, and then like kind of a big brain case.
So what are the wrinkles for? Why, like, this is such a dramatic, like, such a drastic adaptation. Like, why? This has to be doing something.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know. It might be related to, mating. It could just be that female wrinkle-faced bats think wrinkles are hot. And, that's all it needs.
Okay, queen, like, go off.
Not everything... You know, we always think of evolution as like it has to do something, but like it could just be like a preference. Like they're just like, yeah, wrinkle-faced bud. Love it. Like so that's sort of one thing, is it might be kind of related to like the mating systems and sort of what females are attracted to. One of the theories I heard, which I'm not sure if it makes sense to me, but is that like the wrinkles serve as like, imagine biting into a really ripe fruit. And, like, those juices go everywhere. But if you've got all these wrinkles in your face, they can, like...
It's a juice screw!
Yeah!
A juice screw!
Yeah, so that is one...
Oh, like on our cutting board!
That is one hypothesis. Which could be. Which is interesting, because then when you think about the fact that they have these really high bite forces, that means that they're not necessarily eating super ripe fruit. So it's sort of like it's not necessarily one or the other, but it is definitely interesting. So for all you folks out there who are, you know, thinking you want to study bats and you want to do something that no one else has figured out yet, here you go.
Just the paper title could just be Wrinkle-Faced Bats. Why?
Yeah, they're just so weird and cool, and yeah.
Maybe a lesser known little guy, because I feel like you slap one of these things on a nature documentary or something, I think you're gonna get a lot of viewers bailing.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'm good. I'm out.
Yeah, they are an acquired taste.
This is an experienced level. Like, this is like the expert mode. You have to already sort of be experienced with bats to... Like, you have to, like, sort of have a knowledge base in bats already to, I think, enjoy this one. This one's for a refined taste.
But yeah, they're just so weird and kind of, I feel like, highlight sort of the kind of extreme variety we get across the bats.
Extreme indeed.
There's some other, like, there's a few other weirdos, too, that if this bat is your speed and you're like, yes, I want more of this, just in case. There's also ghost-faced bats, and there's the visored bat.
Oh. I just got to the ghost face one. What on earth?
Yeah, they're another
like
little funny one. They look like a little satellite dish.
A satellite dish. I was thinking orangutan.
Yeah.
They have like the orangutan.
Yeah, they can be very orange too.
But like it's one of those, once again, another incomprehensible face.
It does take some orientation.
Like a sci-fi monster where you're like, what part is like, I can see eyes, I can identify eyes, and the rest is just kind of question marks in the middle. Like, there's just kind of a clump of facial anatomy, undetermined face.
Yeah, their ears kind of blend into the rest of their face.
Yeah, it's a little bit challenging to parse. What was the other one you said?
Visored bat, which is actually related to the wrinkle-faced bat.
Well, that's just fun. This one's just kind of goofy.
Yeah.
This one looks like a goblin shark.
Yes.
It has like a big old protrusion right out the front.
Yeah. And again, I think only the males have the forehead thing, but...
Well, that's delightful.
Yeah.
And then they have really, 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 really big lips. Which is so silly. They look like something you like might make if you're just goofing around with like some sort of character creator in a video game that gives you a lot of customization options. Like one that has a lot of sliders where you can pick things like nose width and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it looks like if you were just going absolutely haywire on some sort of character creation, this is what you'd end up with.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what a lot of bats are sort of just like, someone just went in and like you look at a lot of some of the nectar bats and it's just like, you know, you stretch that nose like a little too far and like those ears just got like a little too wide. And that's what makes bats so cool.
You hit randomize all.
Yeah.
Just random number generator for all of the sort of facial proportions.
Yeah.
And this is what you're winding up with. These are horrible. I love them conceptually, but visually they're very challenging to look at.
Fair.
I bet if I met one in person, I would probably in some way like them.
I think, yeah, there is a certain charm to them in person. And I think, like I said, you know, photographs don't always communicate the true like charisma of some of these, even the weirder ones. So
also, like, they're so small, and in the picture you're getting such an up close look. Like, they just weren't meant to be looked at that closely, I think.
Yeah, maybe don't use the macro settings.
Yeah, like, this is an animal that was meant to be viewed sort of from a few feet away.
Yeah.
Which is how I feel like have you ever like accidentally looked at one of those like super like a mirror that's like a super HD 10 times magnification mirror?
Yeah.
And you looked at it and you're like, you suddenly can see all of your pores and like wrinkles and stray black hairs and stuff. And you're like, I wasn't meant to be looked at this closely.
Or it's just like when you like go to take a picture and you forgot your camera was on the selfie setting.
Yeah. And you're like, this isn't.
And it's sort of like that. You're like, oh no.
I wasn't meant to be viewed from this angle.
quick, switch it back. Yeah,
get me out of here.
A little bit of that, I think.
Yeah, maybe these are bats best viewed on their own terms, because I think our cameras are not really doing them justice. I don't think they're meant to be viewed this way. Yeah. It can't possibly be.
Yeah, and like I said, I think they sort of help, like, I don't know, I think just drive home sort of this, like, when we think of bats, we either think of a vampire bat, like scary, or a lot of people think of flying foxes, which are very cool. I have not had the opportunity to work with them. And there's a huge spectrum between and around those things. And so I always kind of like to leave people with, like, you know, there's a lot to bats and a little something for everybody.
And for anyone interested in exploring the spectrum of bats and, you know, learning more about what's in between these extremes and what other extremes are there, I would love to talk about your book, The Weird and Wonderful World of Bats, which we've seen some of those weird and we've heard about some of those weird and wonderful here today.
That's the spectrum, yeah.
But talk to me a little bit about your book.
So it comes out February 11th. It is available for pre-order, Amazon, Bookshop, pretty much anywhere you can order books.
What a Valentine's Day gift.
Yes, exactly.
I'm just saying.
And my goal with the book was really to kind of do sort of what I mentioned already, is like really just show kind of the broadness and the depth that is bat ecology and diversity. So it kind of walked through, like, sort of imagine you are a bat. What is it like to echolocate? What is it like to fly, to eat, to smell, to see? How are bats doing those things? And then how they raise young, their mating habits, their lekking, their hot displays to attract the females. They Some bats they mix their own perfumes.
Slay.
The sackwing bats. Yeah. So like, right, they're doing a lot sort of where they live. And then I also talk about the kind of implications of what it's like to like live and be around bats. So their relationships to disease, what they do for the ecosystem. So all the various ecosystem services that bats are doing for the environment that helps both the environment and also helps people. And then also about what we can do to conserve and preserve and keep all of these amazing, beautiful, different, weird types of bats around as much as we can.
Be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
A neighbor on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, share the weird and wonderful world with your bat friends.
Yes. We need them. They are very important.
And Alyson, where can people learn more from you? Like, where can people follow along with the work that you have been doing and find more from you?
Yes. So I am on pretty much all the socials. I am mostly active on Instagram, a little bit on TikTok, and that is under AlyB, ALYB_Batgirl.
Awesome. I will have links to everything in the episode description, so anybody listening can just scroll down and click through to find more information about your work, follow along with you on social media, where to find your book, get those pre-orders in so that you can get them as a Valentine's Day present for the bat lover in your life. I personally would be thrilled. What a first date, right? Like, hey, do you want to look at wrinkle-faced bats?
Yeah, and I will add that the book has lots of gorgeous pictures. Biologists that I've worked with, Dr. Brock Fenton and Price Sewell, among others, donated their like incredible bat photography for me to put into this book. So even if you just want it for the pictures, like the pictures are beautiful.
There's eye candy.
Yes. And I think there's only like 2 pictures of the wrinkle-faced bat. So
only 2.
Only 2.
It's a soft sell.
And there are flying foxes, so.
Okay, so you gotta balance them out.
Yeah.
Right. It's a little a little sweet and sour. Well, Alyson, I have had so much fun talking with you and learning about bats from you and sharing enthusiasm and joy for bats. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening. I hope the furry little goblins have made a cozy roost in your heart. If you liked what you heard, I hope you leave behind some kind words for us in a review on your podcast app of choice. If you'd like to hang out with us online, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and now Blue Sky. Links to everything will be in the episode description. You can also send me an email at ellen@justthezooofus.com if you have a cool animal you'd like to hear us talk about on the show. We would like to thank Maximum Fun for having us on their network alongside their other amazing shows like the ones that you heard promos for here today. You can go check those out and learn more about the network and how you can be a part of supporting our show over at MaximumFun.org. Finally, we would like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music, and that's all for today. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned. Audience supported.